Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. This episode we'll be checking out a piece by the career digital illustrator known as Jocelin Carmes. This episode we're going to be talking about rarity of color, we're going to talk about the context of satire, and we're also going to talk about the dangerous scenes and the relentless wilderness. So let's jump right into it. So whenever you first see this work, likely your first impression is going to be this large sea of blue with a small island of energy in the middle. Your first, the eye is likely first going to be drawn to this before drawn to the smaller subject there. That red is the brilliant color to really draw the eye. And so what you'll see here, of course, three main regions. We have the base, we have the kind of line of trees and the shelter, and then we have the sky above. What you'll also notice, of course, this middle region kind of blends and bleeds into another due to the effect of that fire there. And so we see our placement in center. Of course, you're not going to miss it here. It feels like everything revolves around this placement in center. We also see this effect kind of aided by a light on dark contrast. Of course, that darker kind of twilight backing is the perfect backing for that accent to pop out to the highest degree possible. And so in the realm of color, we see a kind of two-thirds of a tetratic scheme. They do work together quite nicely, although they are kind of fighting for attention. You have this brilliant blue, then you have this striking red, right? You'll also notice a use of color-based rarity. Of course, red is going to be, I would say, the most rare color within the work at hand. So the fact that that color is rare, it's going to draw your eye to any presence of that color. So any element that has that, certainly going to draw the eye. So what we also notice is this brilliant use of negative space, right? We have the sky, then we have kind of the ground, snow-covered ground as well. Both of those do feel quite empty, but the fact that they are empty, of course, that negative space is going to draw our eye to what is in the composition. So our eye is drawn to the subject or any material that does kind of set itself against that negative space. And so in the realm of mood, this is a very dark piece. Of course, I don't mean incredibly dark. There is a bit of satirical element. We'll go a bit deeper that here in a second. But what you'll see, of course, kind of a darker twilight night backing, right? It's rather calm until you get to this part here. So that kind of shouts out for the viewer's attention and certainly one of the most defining elements of the piece at hand. And so with that in mind, we see this incredible visual energy, right? When you look at fire, you have anything that has like a plume of smoke, there is going to be a sense of energy as if there's a motion within the work at hand. And the motion, of course, can be attributed to all these curves, right? When you see curves such as here, or you see even slight curves in the trees at hand, there's this sense that it's moving. There's this sense of energy within the work at hand. So also very important to note when we're looking at this work. And so the title of this work is I May Have Forgot to Turn Off the Stove, or I May Forgot to Turn Off the Oven. Bit of satirical element kind of aided within that. If I saw this and I didn't know the title, I would kind of talk about the tremendous site before us here. We will still talk about that, but the title does add a bit of satirical element to the work at hand. So I think that's also very important. And so what you'll notice here, of course, we see our small subject. That absolutely brilliant cloak of red draws the eye instantly. What we see here, it appears our subject is returning from a journey of some kind of another, only to discover the tremendously tragic sight before us here. And so, if you think about this, if you're in the middle, of course, this isn't necessarily the Arctic, but it is kind of the wilderness. It is going to be relentless out here. If you don't have a shelter, if your shelter burns down, it is going to be a bit dangerous, right? You have that kind of endless snow and the wilderness. It is relentless and unforgiving in that nature. So see a bit of ruins within the work at hand, but like I said, the title is satirical, so there is kind of more of a satirical element to that at hand. And so with this in mind, what do y'all see when you view this piece, and how do you feel when you view this piece? Two very important questions when we're looking at this work. And so I'm actually going to bring in two more pieces from the original artist. We're going to see a bit of the artist's skill and kind of what that artist works with, and then we're going to head out here. Alright, so I brought two works in here, both from the digital illustrator Jocelin Carmes. And the reason, you look at both of these seem very different, right? Especially compared to the work at hand, right? But what we see here, of course, you have that brilliant blue, that brilliant accent, that placement in center. And here we have that brilliant blue, but the red is going to be accented there. There's a sense of magic within this work, but of course we go all the way to here. There is a sense of the cosmic or the divine within that. You see such a brilliant sky, always catches the eye. But what I want y'all to notice is the use of accent here. Of course, we have this kind of fiery red, what appears to be a rocket of some kind taking off. But what you'll see, of course, the fire pops out absolutely brilliantly. And then we look at a work like this, that blue pops out brilliantly against that kind of darker surrounding. So, Jocelin Carmes at this point is a career digital illustrator, just some absolutely amazing stuff. You can really see what years, even decades of dedication will result in. Absolutely amazing displays of the work before us here. All right, so I hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things. We talked about negative space. We talked about visual energy, implied so many different things we hit on today. Of course, the satirical element of the title here as well. If y'all did enjoy, go check out the original artist, Jocelin Carmes. Always doing some really good stuff in the digital illustration medium. My name is Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.